Can you manifest seven-figure success? In today's video, I'll be breaking down the truth about manifestation and give you the real steps to be able to unlock the life that you've always desired. What's good, everybody? My name is Hafiz, and I'm one of the co-founders of The Standard. The mission of The Standard is to improve the health, wealth, and relationships of six-figure earners through like-minded communities and a personalized strategy for success. So one of the biggest things that I've been noticing in the community that I'm in is that we have a lot of guys who are currently at six figures in income, and their desire is to move into seven figures. And obviously, that is a huge challenge, a huge obstacle. And a lot of guys have been brainstorming, okay, what can we do to work together to help each other achieve this goal? And a couple of the guys in the community started mentioning the idea of manifestation. And he said, maybe what needs to happen is you guys need to bring in some manifestation coaches, read some more manifestation books, and implement more manifestation in order to help everyone achieve success. And I'm always taking feedback from our members, so I definitely, looked into it. And I realized that, man, there is some interesting ideas in manifestation, but there are some missing pieces that really, if you want to achieve seven-figure success, you absolutely need to understand. But before we go ahead and jump into it, let me break down my definition of manifestation. My understanding of manifestation comes from the idea of the law of attraction. And what the law of attraction simply states is that when it comes to positive outcomes, if you have more positive thoughts in life, you attract more positive outcomes. And if you have more negative thoughts in life, those negative thoughts attract more negative outcomes. So if you want to achieve seven-figure success according to manifestation, what you want to do is think about it, dream about it, envision it, and you're going to then attract and pull this seven-figure success towards you. And so what I want to go ahead and do is break down really the science behind this idea, as well as this other idea, which I think you'll find way more valuable, using a framework that I used to go by. And I recently made adjustments to this framework, and I think the adjustments are the hitting pieces for you guys looking to go from 6 to 7 figures or really wanting to implement into their life. So I'll go ahead and break it down. So usually people in the manifestation community will make this claim. And like I said, I've made it in the past a little bit different than what they've made, but I want to go ahead and address it. In life, there's actually a three-part process: story, mindset, outcome. The stories that you hear shape the mindsets that you have, and the mindsets that you have lead to the outcomes that you experience, right? So for example, let me break it down. If the story that you've heard your entire life is that you are not intelligent, you'll never be a millionaire, you'll never be successful, that then leads to the mindset of, man, I'm probably not smart, I'm probably a lazy person, I'm probably an individual who will never achieve success. And if you believe these things about yourself, what's going to be the result, right? The outcome of that is going to be failure, not earning a lot of money, not living the life of your dreams. So for those in a manifestation community, they will tell you, yeah, that's actually the step-by-step science behind manifestation. And like I said, I used to an extent, believe roughly some summation of this, but I realized, man, that idea is actually extremely flawed. And what I want to do in this video, as well as for all the members in the Standard, is to give them tangible steps to be able to achieve success. Because what I've realized is, just because you've heard stories your entire life that you're going to be a millionaire and you have the mindset of the millionaire, it does not mean necessarily you'll have the outcome of being a millionaire. It's not true. Perfect example. If you've heard the story that you will have abs in the future, you have the mindset of working hard. You have the mindset of, I'll be able to get abs. I know how to diet and get better. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have the outcome, and I'll explain. So what I realized is that the true framework is this newest one that I recently put together. And I think Alex Ramones, I think you like it a lot. And this newest framework is really the step-by-step guide and the missing piece to manifestation and what really is needed to go from 6 to 7 figures. So like I said, a lot of it has pieces of the previous formula, but there is one missing piece, the chemical X, that I like to describe that changes the whole game. And that missing piece is action. So before, like I said, a lot of people, what they believe, the stories that you hear shape the mindsets that you have, and then the mindsets that you have shape the outcome that you experience. And like I said, recently I've come to the conclusion that this is wrong. Here is the correct one. The stories that you hear lead to the mindsets that you believe, and the mindsets that you believe lead to the actions that you take, and the actions that you take then lead to the outcomes that you experience. The key to everything is going to be the actions, the step-by-step behaviors that you either change in your life to be able to get to your goal is what leads to the outcome. And I've been working on this because I've been watching a lot of what Alex Ramazzi's videos. He's been forcing people to use objective definitions for very generic words that we all say but we don't understand. And so what I realized is when I'm talking about stories is very simple, right? What is a story? I don't think I have to explain story, but stories are the tales that we hear, right? Stories are the movies that we watch, the books that we read, podcasts that we listen to. Is just whatever voices that are giving us messages. That is the definition of stories. And I realized, what is the definition of mindset? Mindset is the internal belief or ideas that are the catalyst or which leads to the actions that you do. You see, the problem before with this other formula is that you can have the mindset of success, but if you don't take the actionable steps that lead to success, you will get no outcome. So for example, I can have the mindset, have the belief that I have to eat right, that I have to get in shape. I can have the mindset, I can have the belief that I have to work out consistently. But if I don't take the steps to go into the gym, to go ahead and diet, to actually sleep and take care of my body, I will never experience the outcome of success. And so without going into a quick tangent, that's why I hate it when so many people communicate, oh, if you're single, just manifest your partner. Just have the mindset, just have the belief that your partner is going to come, and like some type of, divine fishing rod, you're going to just go ahead and hook and attract your partner from the cosmic universe, and you'll bring them into your life. Well, that's not how it works. And what I found is that a lot of people who have the mindset that they're going to be with a great partner, what do they end up doing? They start taking the actions to be with someone who's a great partner. So they start working out. They start getting better at their job. They start being a dependable, reliable person. They start going out and meeting great people and connecting with a community of like-minded individuals. It's the action that follows the mindset that leads to the outcome of the amazing relationship. And I've seen so many of them recently for members in the Standard. And so what I've realized is that, yes, you want to have the mindset of success. Like I said, the internal ideas or belief, because in the Standard, we're really heavy on the emotional pillar. And a lot of that, it goes back to your internal beliefs. But if you do not have the action, you're not going to have the outcome. So like I said, the stories that you believe lead to the mindsets that you have. The mindsets that you have lead to the actions that you take. And then the actions that you take lead to the outcome that you experience. So this is why it's so important. If you're trying to go from 6 to 7 figures, you need to invest in coaches, conferences, and communities. You need to invest in people who will give you the action steps and hold you accountable to the action steps that lead to success. Just sitting down in your room, thinking about it, praying to God, praying to the universe, trying to bring millions of dollars into your bank account, that's not going to work. You need to find like-minded people who can tell you, hey, you got to apply for this job and then get this raise and then go to work for this company and then do this thing. And then you got to take those steps. You got to get around people who say, okay, open this business and charge this amount of money and then invest in these resources. And then you'll be able to get money. And then you got to take the steps. And so what so many people that I've seen who are six-figure earners, for the most part, what you guys really lack is the action. You lack the action. Are you doing the things that you know you need to do to become successful? And a lot of the reasons why I see so many six-figure earners not take the actions that lead to the outcomes of making millions is because you have nobody by your side to hold you accountable. You are the smartest person in the room. You are the most driven person in the room. You are the most successful person in your friend group. And so this is why it's so important that if you really want to, get success, it's not about manifesting. I'm sorry. It's not about manifesting, right? It's really about investing in the right rooms, investing in the right people who will hold you accountable to take the actions that lead to your success. And so hopefully this breakdown is going to be extremely helpful. And I want to just reiterate the point. Mindset is key, but mindset with no action leads to no outcome. And I can guarantee you every single person who's on the internet who swears by manifestation, what they're really swearing by is the mindsets that lead to the actions. And they're really, to me, I want to be fair because I know people believe different things. I believe these two things are equally important. Here's the fundamental reality. Not all the time, but if you have to pick one or the other, action is king over mindset. Action is king, mindset is queen. Because if you don't believe you can get abs, if you don't believe you can get in shape, if you don't believe you have a fit body, but you go to the gym every single day, but you eat healthy every single day, but you sleep right every single day, but you take care of your body every single day, even though you don't have the mindset, the internal belief, because you have the action, you will get the outcome, right? So that's one argument. But the second argument, and I want to really focus in on the guys who are neglecting the emotional pillar, is that it is almost impossible to do all those things without the mindset, right? So is it possible for a person to believe the gym doesn't work, diets are full of crap, going hard in the gym will not lead to success, and they believe that there's no point of sleeping right? Is it possible that someone who has that mindset is actually going to do the actions that are going to lead to them consistently getting in shape? More than likely not. I'm not really arguing A or B here, even though I do think one is a little bit supreme over the other, but I'm arguing the importance of both of them to achieving success, which is why, like I said, we always focus on the eternal man. But like I said, at the end of the day, everything leads to action. So I'm sorry, a little bit redundant. YouTube tells me don't be redundant in your videos. So hope that helps, guys. And if you are a six-figure earner that wants to connect with like-minded people, we'd love to have you in our private membership, the Community The Standard. You can apply via the link below. Thank you guys so much for your time and have a great day.